The interstellar embassy of Earth stood like a glass mountain under the sky of New Paris. Its tall walls reflected stars and ships that moved through the evening air. Inside the grand hall, light from thousands of crystals touched the surface of paintings, statues, and ancient human art that had been brought from all corners of the galaxy. The event that night was the Exhibition of Humanity, a celebration of art that had once defined Earth before it became part of the wider galactic community. Guests from many planets had come to see the centerpiece of the exhibition, a painting called The Starborn Lady. This painting was more than art, it was history. The story said that long ago, before humans met alien life, the artist had dreamed of a woman surrounded by light from the stars, as if she knew life existed beyond Earth. To humans, it represented curiosity. To aliens, it was a symbol of human imagination that no other species could match. The hall was filled with soft music and gentle voices. Floating drones served crystal cups of colored drinks. Tall alien diplomats with bright eyes and smooth skin stood beside human officials, speaking in translated tones. Every face was turned toward the painting that hung under a silver frame. Among the servants moving quietly between the guests was Lena, the daughter of one of the maids who worked in the embassy. She wore a plain uniform and carried a tray of glasses. No one paid attention to her. She was used to that. Most people saw her as part of the background, but Lena had something that made her different. When other workers rested during breaks, she went to the library and read about human art. She loved color, form, and the feeling that paintings gave her. Her mother used to laugh and say, "You were born to clean art, not to make it." But Lena never stopped dreaming of learning more. That night, while she served the guests, her eyes went again and again to the famous painting. She had seen it many times before. She knew every color, every line of the woman's face. The original had been guarded in the embassy for generations. Yet something about it bothered her. The shade of blue around the woman's eyes was too sharp. The paint did not seem to absorb light like natural pigment. It reflected it in a metallic way. Lena paused beside a group of alien guests who were studying the painting. One of them said through the translator, "This art shows the strange way humans see the world. Imperfect but emotional." The others agreed. Lena wanted to speak, but she kept silent. A servant was not supposed to interrupt guests. Still, her heart beat faster. She looked closer and noticed another detail. The signature at the bottom right corner was faintly curved in a different style. The human artist's handwriting had always been smooth and flowing, but this one looked stiff, like it had been traced by someone copying. Her hands trembled. She took a slow breath. She looked again. The woman in the painting had a small star on her wrist. In the original, that star was made of 5 brushstrokes. Here she could count only 4. The missing line was enough to break the pattern. Her mouth went dry. She had spent months polishing the floors near that painting. She had seen it under every kind of light. She knew what she saw now. It was not the same painting. The hall grew quiet as the master of ceremony stepped forward. "Honored guests," he said, "tonight we present to you the greatest treasure of our history, the Starborn Lady, symbol of the first dream of mankind." At that moment, the light focused on the painting. The colors glowed. Everyone applauded, and Lena could not hold herself back. Her voice broke the silence. "Ce tableau est faux," she shouted in French. "That painting is a fake." The sound echoed across the hall. Glasses stopped in midair. Conversations froze. 100 eyes turned toward the small maid's daughter standing near the serving table. The human ambassador, an older man in a white suit, frowned. "Who said that?" Lena lowered her tray slowly. "I did, sir," she said in a trembling voice. Laughter spread among the guests. Some thought it was a joke, but Lena did not smile. Her eyes were fixed on the painting. The ambassador sighed. "My dear, you must be mistaken. This painting has been certified by experts and protected for years." "It is not the same one," Lena said. "The brushstrokes are wrong. The colors are too cold. The artist used natural pigments from earth minerals. These are synthetic. Look at the blue around her eyes. It shines like metal, and the signature is traced, not written." Her words came quickly. The crowd murmured. The alien delegates tilted their heads, whispering to translators. One of them asked, "What is fake?" The ambassador tried to calm the room, but curiosity had already taken control. An art curator named Rami, who had been managing the exhibition, stepped closer. He was a thin man with kind eyes. Let her speak, he said. If she is wrong, we will know in a moment. The ambassador hesitated, then nodded. Rami approached the painting and activated his wrist scanner. A thin beam of light moved across the surface. The screen showed chemical data in small glowing letters. The curator frowned. This is strange, he said. The pigment compounds are indeed synthetic. This version was painted with alien-made materials, not Earth ones. Gasps filled the hall. The ambassador's face turned pale. He looked at Lena. How did you notice that? Lena swallowed. I love paintings, she said softly. I look at them when no one is around. I know how they feel when light touches them. This one felt different. The aliens began talking among themselves. One tall delegate with greenish skin said, If this art is false, where is the true one? No one answered. The painting was supposed to be priceless. It had been guarded by humans for decades. Replacing it was impossible, or so they had believed. Security officers moved quickly. They closed the hall and scanned the doors. Guests were asked to remain calm. Lena stood quietly beside Rami as the ambassador questioned her again. Do you have any idea who could have done this? Lena shook her head. No, sir. I only know that this one is not the real painting. Rami looked again at the results. The frame is also different, he said. The inner fiber is not human wood. It is a type of alien composite used for transport containers. Someone replaced this painting and built a near-perfect copy. The ambassador rubbed his forehead. We will need to start an investigation at once. Lena felt small among the important people, yet she also felt a strange strength. She had spoken the truth in front of everyone. The hall that once ignored her now listened to her words. Hours later, after the guests had been sent away and the hall was empty, Lena sat on a bench near the quiet walls. Rami came to her with a small tablet in his hand. You were very brave, he said. Most people would have stayed silent. I only said what I saw, Lena replied. Rami smiled. Sometimes that is the hardest thing to do. He showed her the data again. There is something else. Look here. The pigment contains microstructures smaller than dust. They are not just color particles. They look like data storage threads. Data storage? Lena asked. Yes, said Rami. Like someone hid information inside the paint itself. I have seen this technology in alien art restoration. It allows a painting to carry messages invisible to normal scanners. Then someone wanted to send a message, Lena said. Maybe, he replied. Or maybe someone wanted to hide one. They both looked up at the empty space where the painting had been. The real Starborn lady was missing, and in its place stood a perfect but lifeless imitation. Rami sighed. The ambassador will bring a team from Earth Central to study this. They will ask many questions. They might not like that you shouted during the ceremony. Lena smiled weakly. That is fine. I did not mean to cause trouble. I just could not stay quiet. Rami looked at her carefully. Do you want to help us find the real painting? She blinked. Me? But I am only a maid's daughter. He shook his head. You saw what no one else could. That makes you more than that. We need your eyes and your instincts. For the first time, Lena felt something new. Hope. The art she loved might now lead her to something greater. That night, when she returned to her small room in the servants' quarters, she could not sleep. She looked out of the window at the lights of the city. Starships crossed the sky, leaving trails of silver behind them. Somewhere out there was the real Starborn lady. She wondered who had taken it and why. Her mother entered the room quietly. You were brave today, she said, placing a gentle hand on Lena's shoulder. People will talk about it for a long time. I was afraid, Lena said, but I could not ignore what I saw. Her mother smiled. Truth has a way of finding the ones who care. Lena nodded and looked again at the stars. She thought about the strange metallic colors in the fake painting, the hidden threads of data, and the old stories about the original artist who dreamed of the stars before humans ever reached them. Something deep inside her whispered that this was only the beginning. The painting had been replaced for a reason. Maybe it carried a secret that someone wanted to keep hidden, or maybe it carried a message that someone wanted her to find. As the night grew quiet, Lena promised herself that she would discover the truth. No matter how far she had to go or how many stars she had to cross, she would find the real Starborn lady and understand what it meant. She closed her eyes and felt a calm certainty fill her heart. In the darkness beyond the window, the stars looked back as if they were waiting for her to begin. The next morning, the interstellar embassy of Earth was no longer calm and bright. The hall where the exhibition had been held was now sealed by guards. Security drones floated across the corridor. Reporters from every planet stood outside the embassy gates shouting questions. The news had spread through the galaxy in a few hours. The famous Starborn Lady painting had been declared a fake during a public event. Every message channel repeated the same question. Who had replaced the most valuable human artwork in history? Inside, Lena stood beside the wall with her hands folded. She wore the same plain uniform. Her eyes looked tired, but she was not afraid. She watched as investigators in black suits walked past her, carrying scanners and data tablets. Her mother had told her to stay silent and let the officials handle it, but Lena knew she would not be able to stop thinking about it. Rami, the art curator, appeared beside her. He smiled gently. You should rest, Lena. The embassy is full of noise today. They will question everyone. I cannot rest, she said. I want to help. You already helped, he said. Without you, no one would have noticed the switch. She looked up at the high ceiling. The chandeliers were off. The hall felt empty without the painting that had always hung there. Do they know who did it? She asked. Not yet, said Rami. But they found something interesting. He lowered his voice. The fake painting was made from materials not available on Earth. They are used by the Hestari traders from the Vega colonies. Lena frowned. The Hestari? They were guests at the ceremony. Rami nodded. Yes, but that does not mean they are guilty. Still, it gives us a direction. Before Lena could answer, the human ambassador entered the hall. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. He was followed by several security officers. Everyone who worked here during the exhibition must stay in the building, he said. No one leaves until we find answers. Rami placed a hand on Lena's shoulder. Stay close to me. I will make sure you are safe. For the next few hours, the investigators questioned every worker, guard, and guest. They asked where each person had been during the last week. When Lena's turn came, she sat in front of two officers and told them everything she had seen. I noticed the colors, she said. They looked wrong. The blue was too bright, the signature was not real, and the feeling of the painting was different. The officers looked at each other. One of them asked, Did anyone else notice this before you? No, Lena said. Everyone believed it was the original. The officer nodded and wrote something on his tablet. You did well to speak up. Many would not have had the courage. When the questions ended, Lena stepped outside the small room and found Rami waiting for her. He held a data chip in his hand. I made a copy of the pigment scan, he said quietly. There is something more here. The microstructures in the paint form a pattern. I think it might be a message. A message? Lena repeated. Yes, said Rami. Not written in language, but in light and shape. I have seen something like this once long ago when I worked on alien art. Some species use patterns and colors to hide information that only certain scanners can read. Lena's eyes widened. You think someone hid a message inside the fake painting? I think it is possible, Rami replied. But we must be careful. The embassy will not allow anyone to take data without permission. He looked around to make sure no one was listening. Meet me in the restoration room tonight. We can study the scan privately. Lena nodded. She felt nervous, but her curiosity was stronger than her fear. When night came, most of the embassy lights were dim. Guards still stood near the hall, but few people moved through the corridors. Lena slipped quietly to the restoration room. The door opened with a soft sound, and she found Rami waiting beside a holographic table. He placed the data chip into the console. The hologram lit up, showing a glowing image of the fake painting. He adjusted the settings until the colors began to shift and change. Patterns appeared under the surface like threads woven inside the pigment. Lena leaned closer. It looks like stars, Rami nodded. Yes, they are arranged in a map, but it is not a star map from any known system. Could it be a code? She asked. It might be both, he said. Someone hid coordinates in the fake painting. Look here. The positions repeat in a cycle, like a signal pointing toward a place. They watched the lights move across the projection. The pattern finally formed a sequence of numbers and symbols. Rami entered the data into the translator. After a few moments, words appeared on the screen. The translation was simple. Home of the first dream. Lena whispered the words to herself. Home of the first dream, what does that mean? Rami sat back in his chair. I am not sure, but I remember something from old human records. Long ago, Before the Galactic Alliance, humans tried to build a colony beyond the solar system. It was called Eden 9, the first dream of humanity among the stars. Lena looked at him with surprise. Eden 9. I read about it in the archives. The colony failed and everyone disappeared. Yes, said Rami. No one ever learned what happened there. The records were incomplete. The planet was left empty for centuries. Then maybe the coordinates in the painting lead to that planet, Lena said. Rami nodded slowly. If that is true, then whoever made the fake painting wanted someone to find this message. But they could not send it openly, so they hid it in art. Lena thought about the aliens who had been at the ceremony, the way they looked at the painting, the whispering among them. Do you think the aliens knew about this? Rami sighed. If they did not say. The Histari are known for trading information. It is possible that they were involved in moving the painting, but I doubt they knew the full meaning of what they carried. Lena stepped closer to the hologram. The pattern of stars seemed to shine brighter. Maybe the real Starborn lady was taken to that planet, she said. That could be true, Rami replied. And if we can find it, we might also find the reason it was replaced. The room fell silent. Only the hum of the holographic table filled the air. Lena's eyes shone with determination. We should go there. Rami looked at her with surprise. Go there? You mean Eden 9? It is outside normal travel routes. The embassy will never allow us to leave. Then we will go quietly, Lena said. If this is connected to human history, it is our duty to find out. You said it yourself. Someone hid this message for a reason. Maybe they wanted humans to remember something that was lost. Rami hesitated. He was older and wiser, but he could not ignore the truth in her words. It will be dangerous, he said. I know, Lena replied. But if I could stand before the whole embassy and speak the truth, I can face this too. Rami smiled. You sound like someone who belongs among explorers. I only want to understand, she said. Art always hides meaning. This painting hides something more. They agreed to prepare quietly. Rami had access to a small research vessel used for transporting art pieces. It was fast and had long-range sensors. They would leave the next evening when the embassy changed shifts and security was lighter. The following day, the investigation continued. Reporters surrounded the embassy gates. The ambassador appeared before the cameras and promised that the truth would be found. But behind the scenes, Lena and Rami were making their own plans. Lena spent the morning helping in the kitchen so no one would notice her absence later. Her mother warned her not to get involved again, but Lena only smiled and said she would be careful. When night came again, she met Rami in the storage bay. The small silver ship stood ready. Rami carried a case with the data chip and the holographic map. Lena carried a simple bag with clothes and a small picture of her mother. Are you sure you want to do this? Rami asked one last time. Yes, Lena said. If we find the truth, it will belong to all humans. Not just to those in power. They entered the ship. The engines came alive with a soft sound. The outer doors opened, revealing the dark sky of New Paris filled with moving stars. As the ship rose into the air, Lena looked down at the city lights. She thought of her mother, the embassy, and the painting that had started it all. The world she knew was fading behind her. Ahead of her stretched the unknown. Rami set the coordinates from the message. The navigation system calculated the route. It will take 2 days to reach the edge of the old human colonies, he said. After that, we will follow the signal from the code. Lena nodded. Then let us go. The stars stretched into lines as the ship entered faster than light travel. Lena sat by the window and watched the light flow past. She felt excitement and fear together. Somewhere far away, the real Starborn lady waited. Somewhere on a forgotten planet, a secret was buried. She closed her eyes and whispered, "We will find you." Rami looked at her and smiled. You have the heart of a true explorer, Lena. Maybe that is what makes humans different. We always search for the truth no matter how far it hides. As the ship traveled into the deep dark of space, the galaxy seemed to watch them. The faint message from the fake painting glowed again on the screen. Home of the first dream. The small ship moved through the endless space like a shining seed carried by wind. Lena sat near the window, watching the stars slide past in thin streams of light. It was the first time she had ever left her home world. Every flash of light outside felt like a new promise. Yet in her heart there was a question that grew stronger with every passing hour. Why would someone hide a message in a painting? What was waiting for them on Eden 9? Rami worked quietly at the control table. The soft lights of the console reflected on his face. "We will reach the border of the old human colonies soon," he said. "After that, the main route ends. The rest of the journey will be through empty space." Lena nodded. "No one travels there anymore?" "Not for a long time," Rami said. "The first colonies failed. Some lost contact, others were abandoned. Eden 9 was the most mysterious of them all. Records show it was once full of art and hope. Then everything went silent." Lena looked at the data screen where the message from the painting was displayed. The phrase "home of the first dream" shone softly. "Maybe the silence is part of the secret," she said. "Maybe they wanted someone to find it only when the time was right." Rami smiled slightly. "You sound like an artist." "I only listen to what I feel," Lena replied. For the next few hours they talked little. The sound of the engines filled the small cabin. When the ship dropped out of faster travel, they saw the edge of the forgotten zone. Stars here looked dimmer, surrounded by old wrecks of ancient ships. Pieces of metal floated silently in the dark. Rami studied the readings. "We are near the coordinates hidden in the painting. The planet should appear soon." Lena pressed her face closer to the window. A pale blue sphere appeared ahead, half covered in clouds. It looked peaceful from space. "That is Eden 9? "Yes," Rami said. "It is smaller than Earth, but once had a similar atmosphere. Long ago, humans believed they could build a new world here. It was called the First Dream because it was the first step toward a wider human future." Lena smiled. Then maybe the painting was not only about art. Maybe it was a key to remember that dream. They guided the ship into the planet's orbit. As they descended through the clouds, the surface came into view. The land was covered with green vines and silver dust. Old buildings stood half buried in the ground. Rivers of light blue water moved slowly across empty plains. "It looks beautiful," Lena said softly. "Beautiful and lonely," Rami replied. "No human has lived here for centuries." The ship landed near a structure that looked like an old museum. Its roof was broken and trees grew inside the main hall. The walls still carried faint carvings of human symbols. Rami took a scanner and stepped outside first. "Air is thin but safe," he said. "We can walk," Lena followed him. The ground was soft under her boots. Wind moved through the empty city, carrying the smell of earth and stone. She touched a fallen column. "It feels alive even in silence," she said. They entered the museum. Inside, the air was cool and still. Sunlight came through the cracks in the roof, lighting the dust that floated in the air. Faded paintings hung on the walls. Some were broken, others half covered by vines. Yet each one carried a touch of beauty that had not disappeared. Lena walked slowly, her eyes wide. "They were artists," she whispered. "Even when they came to a new world, they brought art with them." Rami nodded. "That is what makes humans special. Even in the hardest places, we create beauty." In the center of the museum stood a sealed door made of metal. Old writing on it read "Vault of Inspiration." Rami studied the lock. "This was made with ancient codes," he said. "I can try to open it." He connected his tablet to the lock system and began working. The door lights flickered. After a few moments, there was a soft sound and the door opened slowly. A breath of cold air came from inside. They stepped through the entrance. The chamber beyond was wide and dark. As their lights turned on, they both froze. Hundreds of paintings covered the walls, each shining with a faint inner glow. The light came from small crystals inside the paint. The colors moved as if alive. Lena took a step forward. "This is impossible," she whispered. "They are glowing." Rami looked around in wonder. "These are not just paintings. They are messages. The pigments react to energy. The early colonists must have discovered a way to combine art and science." He scanned one of the paintings. Each one carries coded patterns, the same type we found in the fake Starborn lady, but these are older, very old. Lena studied a nearby painting. It showed humans standing beside alien shapes, sharing light from their hands. The expression on the faces was calm and kind. "They met other beings," she said, "and they tried to speak through art." Rami nodded slowly. "This is communication through emotion and image. Not language, not numbers, but feeling. The first colonists must have discovered that art could cross the barrier of species." He looked at another wall where a large painting showed a human artist surrounded by stars. "The Starborn lady might have been the final message," he said. "The one they sent back to Earth to remind us of this connection." Lena felt her heart race. Then the fake painting was not made to steal it. It was made to hide something. Maybe someone wanted to erase this part of history. Hide the truth that humans were the first to teach others the meaning of art, Rami said. It changes everything we believe about how contact began. The aliens were not the teachers. We were. They walked deeper into the vault. In the far corner, a small podium stood under a beam of light. On it rested an empty frame. The plaque below it read, "The Starborn Lady." Lena touched the plaque gently. This is where the real painting belonged. Rami studied the frame. It must have been taken from here long ago. Perhaps one of the last colonists sent it back to Earth before the colony fell silent. Lena looked around the glowing hall. These people were trying to share something pure. They used art to speak with the universe. Rami smiled. It seems you were right from the beginning. The painting was never only about beauty. It was about connection. As they explored, Lena found a small box beside the podium. Inside was a metal tablet covered in dust. She wiped it clean and saw human writing. It was a letter. The message said, "To those who find this place, we, the artists of Eden 9, discovered that every color carries a voice. The beings we met could not speak our words, yet they felt our art. They answered with light. We called them the Silent Kin. Together we painted the songs of peace. If one day this world is forgotten, let this truth remain. Humanity was never alone. We were the ones who taught others how to dream." Lena read the words again and again, her eyes filled with emotion. "They wanted us to know," she said softly. "They wanted us to remember what it means to be human." Rami placed a hand on her shoulder. "This discovery will change everything." They took images of every painting and the message tablet. Rami stored the data carefully. "We must return and show this to the council," he said. "The galaxy needs to know that humanity's art was the first bridge." Lena looked at the glowing walls once more. "Before we leave, I want to see if there is anything else," she said. She walked around the hall and noticed one painting that looked newer than the others. Its colors were more vivid. She scanned it with Rami's tablet and saw something strange. The code inside it matched the pattern of the fake Starborn Lady. It was the same signature. "Rami, look at this," she said. "This painting was made by the same hand that created the fake one." He studied the data. "You are right. But how could that be? The fake was made recently. This one is centuries old. Maybe someone used the same design to send a message again," Lena said. "Maybe the person who replaced the painting on Earth wanted to lead us here." Rami thought for a moment. "If that is true, then whoever did it was not a thief. They were trying to help us find this place." Lena nodded. "Then the shout I made in the hall was not an accident. It was part of the path. They stayed in the vault until the night grew deep. When they finally returned to the ship, the stars above Eden 9 shone brighter than before." Lena looked up at them and felt a strange peace. The silence of the planet was no longer empty. It was full of meaning. As the ship lifted from the surface, she whispered, "We will tell the truth. The stars will know who we are." Rami looked at her and said, "The world will listen to you, Lena. You discovered what all our history forgot, that imagination and art are the light of humanity." The ship rose higher until the ruins of the colony disappeared beneath the clouds. The message from the vault repeated softly on the console screen. Humanity was never alone. We were the ones who taught others how to dream. Neither of them spoke as they left the planet's orbit. Both felt that their journey had just begun. Ahead lay the task of telling the galaxy that the first dream of mankind still lived, glowing quietly inside every brushstroke, every melody, every human heart. The ship descended slowly toward the pale blue planet. Lena pressed her hands against the window, staring at the world below. From orbit, Eden 9 looked peaceful. Rivers reflected the soft light of twin moons, and forests spread across mountains like green seas. Yet the closer they came, the more signs of human absence became clear. Buildings had fallen, their roofs missing, and vines climbed over stone walls. Nature had begun reclaiming the land. Rami adjusted the ship's controls. The coordinates point to a large structure near the center of the continent. It should be the main museum and archives of the colony. "Then that is where the painting might be," Lena said. Her voice trembled with excitement and hope. The ship landed gently in a clearing. Broken statues of human figures stood like guards along the pathway. Some were toppled and covered in moss. Lena stepped out, breathing in the fresh air. It smelled of wet earth and wild plants. Birds with silver wings flew overhead. The quiet was not empty. It was full of life that had adapted to the abandoned human buildings. Rami led the way toward the museum. The walls were cracked, but the architecture was beautiful. Columns rose high with carvings of stars and constellations. Some of the carvings glowed faintly in the moonlight. Lena ran her fingers along a carving of a star cluster. Even in ruins, they created beauty, she whispered. Inside, the museum was dark. The roof had collapsed in places, letting beams of moonlight fall on the dusty floor. Lena's footsteps echoed as she moved carefully. Rami scanned the area with a portable device that detected energy patterns. There, he said, pointing to a large hall at the back. Energy signatures match what we saw in the painting. This must be the vault. They pushed open a heavy metal door. Rust had not fully claimed the lock, but it groaned as it opened. Inside, the chamber was enormous. Lena gasped. Hundreds of paintings hung on the walls, illuminated by faint glowing crystals embedded in the pigments. The colors were alive, shifting softly like water. This is incredible, Lena said. Her eyes moved from painting to painting. Each image told a story. Some showed humans sharing light and music with alien forms. Others depicted landscapes with colors no human eye had named. Rami scanned the room. These are not only art, they are messages. The pigments carry encoded patterns. The early colonists discovered a way to combine art and science to communicate with others, even if words could not be used. Lena walked closer to one painting. It showed humans holding hands with beings of light. Each figure's expression was calm and welcoming. They met others, she said softly. They were teaching and learning at the same time. Yes, Rami said. And the fake starborn lady was part of this system. Whoever replaced it on Earth used the same code pattern. It seems they wanted someone to find this place eventually. Lena studied another painting. It showed a woman surrounded by starlight, her eyes calm and bright. Lena froze. The brush strokes were exactly like the painting she had seen on Earth, the one she had declared fake. The colors glowed faintly in a pattern that pulsed with a hidden rhythm. This must be the original starborn lady, Lena whispered. It was never meant to stay on Earth. It was a message, not a decoration. Rami nodded. The first colonists wanted the painting to carry their legacy. It was their gift to the future. They wanted humans to remember that they could reach the stars and inspire others. Lena moved closer and examined the tiny threads in the paint. Each thread pulsed with faint energy. It is like it is alive, she said, like it wants to tell its story. Rami scanned the surrounding walls. The entire vault is a record of the colony. Every painting, every crystal, every code carries knowledge and history. This is more than art. This is a message to humanity itself. Lena walked slowly through the hall. Some paintings showed the colony's struggles, humans working together to build homes and gardens in harsh terrain, children learning under glowing trees, machines floating over rivers powered by the energy of the planet. Every image told a story of hope, courage, and creativity. This is what makes humans special, Lena said quietly. Even in a new world they kept creating, even when they did not know if anyone would ever see it. Rami nodded. Art is not just decoration. It is the essence of who we are. These colonists knew that their work could survive long after they were gone. As they moved further into the vault, Lena noticed a small podium beneath a shaft of light. On it was a metal tablet covered with dust. She picked it up carefully. The tablet was inscribed with human writing, faded but still readable. To those who find this place, Lena read aloud. We, the artists of Eden 9, discovered that every color carries a voice. The beings we met could not speak our language, but they felt our art. They answered with light and music. We called them the Silent Kin. Together we painted the songs of peace. If one day this world is forgotten, let this truth remain. Humanity was never alone. We were the ones who taught others how to dream. Tears filled Lena's eyes. They wanted someone to know, she said softly. They wanted the story to survive. Rami looked around the hall. This is why the fake painting was made. Whoever created it on Earth wanted the story to be remembered. The galaxy must know that humans were teachers, creators, and dreamers. Lena stepped closer to the starborn lady. The figure in the painting looked at her with a calm expression. The small star on her wrist pulsed faintly. Lena realized that this was not just a symbol. It was a signal, a key to the message hidden in all the art. Rami studied the threads in the pigment. Each painting is connected. The codes are like a network. They form a map, not only of the colony but also of human knowledge and philosophy. Lena's heart beat faster. Then the first dream of humanity was never just a colony. It was a story, a message, a gift to the universe. Yes, Rami said, and now we have the chance to share it. They spent hours photographing, scanning, and documenting the vault. Every painting, every tablet, every glowing crystal was carefully recorded. Lena traced her fingers along the oldest walls. Each brushstroke seemed to hum softly, like a heartbeat from the past. This is why humans are different, Lena said quietly. We can leave a mark that is more than words. We can inspire even those who cannot speak our language. Rami smiled. You already understand that, Lena. That is why you saw the fake painting and recognized the truth. Not everyone can do that. When they finally left the vault, the first light of the twin suns touched the ruins of Eden 9. The forest glowed faintly. Birds called softly in the distance. Lena looked back at the museum. She knew that this place, abandoned and silent, held the real voice of humanity. This journey is not over, she said. We need to tell the galaxy, Rami nodded. Yes, but first we must return safely and share our proof. The world will listen if we show them this, Lena smiled. Then let us begin. As the ship lifted off, Lena pressed her hand against the window. Eden 9 grew smaller beneath them, a hidden gem among the stars. Its silence was no longer empty. It was full of meaning, full of human creativity, and full of hope. Somewhere across the galaxy, the painting waited to remind humans and aliens alike that imagination could bridge worlds, and that a simple brushstroke could carry the truth of an entire species. Lena looked at Rami. The story of humans will never be forgotten now, she said. He nodded. Because we remembered to listen. The ship rose higher, leaving the ruins behind. Ahead, the stars stretched infinitely, and the first dream of humanity glowed softly in the minds of two explorers who had discovered the secret hidden within colors, light and imagination. The adventure was not yet complete. The gallery on Earth awaited. The fake painting had to be replaced, and the galaxy needed to know the truth. But Lena understood that the heart of humanity had been revealed, and it would shine forever. The small research ship moved smoothly through space as Lena and Rami headed back toward Earth. Both were quiet, each lost in thought. Lena stared at the glowing patterns on the data screens. Hundreds of paintings, each carrying messages from the first human colony beyond the solar system, were now safely stored in the ship's database. Every image, every color, every pulse of light held the story of human creativity and imagination. Rami broke the silence. When we reach Earth, the real work begins. We must show the galaxy what we discovered, Lena nodded. The fake starborn lady was just a warning. Now we have the proof. They entered Earth's orbit at night. The planet below shimmered with cities, oceans, and forests. Lights glowed like stars reflected on water. Lena's heart quickened. She remembered the grand hall of the interstellar embassy, the night she had shouted that the painting was fake, and the shock on the faces of humans and aliens alike. She had no idea then that her voice would start a journey that would uncover the hidden history of humanity. Rami piloted the ship to the embassy's secure docking bay. The guards looked surprised to see them return so suddenly, but Rami showed them the ambassador's credentials and explained the urgency. Lena stepped out first, holding the data pad carefully. Inside the embassy, the grand hall was quiet. The fake starborn lady still hung in its place, but the energy from the painting was different now. Lena walked slowly toward it. She reached out her hand and touched the frame. Even through the imitation, she felt the message. It was as if the painting recognized that its story had been uncovered. The ambassador entered behind them, his face full of curiosity and caution. "You have returned," he said. "Did you find anything?" Lena nodded. "Yes, sir. We found the real painting and the records of the colony on Eden 9. The first human settlers left messages that prove humans were the teachers, the creators and the dreamers who connected with others through art and imagination. The fake painting was meant to guide someone to the truth, not hide it forever." The ambassador gestured to the guards to clear the room. "Show us." Rami activated the holographic displays. The room filled with glowing images of the Eden 9 vault. Hundreds of paintings, each shining softly, appeared around the hall. Human figures met alien shapes, sharing light, music, and emotion. The colors shifted like living energy, forming patterns that were impossible to ignore. The ambassador looked astonished. "This is incredible. I have never seen anything like it." Lena stepped closer to the projection of the real starborn lady. The woman's eyes seemed to look directly at each person in the room, The small star on her wrist pulsed with the rhythm of the colony's message. This painting was not only art, Lena said. It was a message to humanity and the galaxy. It shows that humans can teach, inspire, and connect beyond language and technology. Imagination is our bridge. Aliens who had attended the exhibition years ago now stood silently. Their eyes reflected the colors of the paintings. Some tilted their heads, unable to speak. Others seemed to understand immediately. One elder Hestari delegate extended a hand toward the display and said, "We see now what was hidden. Humans were our teachers, not the other way around." Lena felt a thrill of pride. She had been a maid's daughter, unnoticed and small. Yet she had helped reveal a truth that would change the way the galaxy viewed humanity. The ambassador stepped forward. "We must restore the painting to its rightful place. The fake must be removed. Humanity's history cannot remain hidden." Lena helped carefully remove the imitation. When the real Starborn lady was placed in the frame, the room seemed to shine brighter. The colors glowed naturally, alive with the energy of the first human settlers. Every brushstroke carried wisdom, every glow carried a lesson. Rami turned to Lena. "You did this. You saw what others missed. Without you, the truth might have remained hidden." She smiled quietly. "I only followed what I felt. The painting spoke to me." Delegates from many worlds began speaking. Their translators conveyed awe and respect. "Humans are remarkable," one said. "You created connections that no other species could. Your art carries the light of your mind and heart." The ambassador nodded. "This is why humans are honored in the Galactic Council. You remind everyone that imagination and truth can guide the galaxy toward peace and understanding." Lena looked around the room. The delegates, the ambassador, and the observers all watched the painting. The glow from the brushstrokes spread softly across the hall. Lena thought of Eden 9, of the silent vault, and of the humans who had left their story behind. They had dreamed of a future in which their art would inspire generations. She realized then that humans were not just a species among many. They were creators, storytellers, and visionaries. Their ability to imagine, to dream, and to connect through art was a gift that could reach the stars. Rami placed a hand on Lena's shoulder. "The galaxy will remember us differently now. Because of you, the truth is known." The ambassador approached and addressed everyone in the hall. "Let this be a new beginning. The Starborn Lady is not only a masterpiece. It is proof that humanity can lead, inspire, and teach in ways no one else can. Let it remind us that imagination, honesty, and courage are the true measures of greatness." Lena stepped back and watched. People began to study the painting carefully. Some took notes, others simply stared. The aliens, too, seemed to sense the meaning within the colors. Lena felt proud yet humble. She had discovered the truth, but the painting belonged to everyone now. The next day, the Galactic Council convened. Lena, Rami, and the ambassador presented their findings. Holographic images of Eden 9 and the glowing paintings were displayed. Delegates from dozens of worlds watched with fascination. A council leader from the Varkari species spoke. "We have learned today that humans have a power unlike any other. Your art carries more than beauty. It carries understanding and connection. This is a gift to the galaxy." Another delegate from a distant star system added, "The first human colony showed us that even in isolation, humans create bridges between minds and hearts." "That is remarkable." Lena felt tears fill her eyes. For years, she had thought of herself as a small, invisible person. Now she understood that even a single voice, a single choice, could reveal the greatest truths. The council voted to honor humanity with a new recognition. The art of humanity would be preserved as a symbol of peace, creativity, and interstellar connection. The Starborn Lady would remain on display as the center of this recognition. After the council, Lena returned to the gallery. She stood before the painting. The woman in the painting looked out with calm, gentle eyes. Lena smiled. "We found you," she whispered. "And now the galaxy knows your story." Rami came to her side. "Your courage brought us here," he said. "The galaxy will remember your name." Lena shook her head. "It is not about me. It is about all humans who dreamed, who created, and who inspired. That is what matters." The ambassador joined them. "Lena, you have reminded us all what it means to be human. The galaxy has seen our light because of your voice and your eyes. We will never forget it." As the sun rose over Earth, the gallery shimmered with natural light. The colors of the Starborn Lady glowed with brilliance. Delegates, scholars, and visitors from across the stars gathered. They learned not only about the colony but also about the enduring spirit of humanity. Lena stepped back, feeling a quiet happiness. She had begun this journey as a maid's daughter who loved art. She had spoken the truth when no one else would. And now she saw that the courage to see and to act could reveal the greatness of an entire species. Rami looked at her. The first dream of humanity lives, and it will continue to live as long as we remember, create, and share. Lena nodded. Yes. And the galaxy will see us not just as survivors, but as teachers, dreamers, and creators. The Starborn Lady hung in its rightful place, a beacon of imagination, truth, and connection. The light from the painting touched every observer, human and alien alike. It was a reminder that humans had a special gift, the ability to dream, to imagine, and to inspire across the stars. And as Lena left the gallery that day, she felt the weight and joy of discovery. She had uncovered the truth, protected the legacy, and shared humanity's light with the universe. The first dream of humans had become the story of all humans, shining brightly in the hearts of every world. The galaxy would remember humanity not only for its courage or technology, but for its imagination, its creativity, and its ability to touch the hearts of all who could see and feel. Lena knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity's light would continue to spread, one story, one painting, and one dream at a time. She smiled as she looked up at the stars, feeling the pulse of countless human dreams mingling with the universe. Somewhere out there, beyond the light of known planets, other humans would continue to create, and those creations would reach hearts and minds across the galaxy, proving that humanity was more than ordinary. Humanity was extraordinary, and that extraordinary spirit had started with a single voice that had shouted the truth in a quiet hall, a voice that refused to be ignored and a heart that saw what others could not. Lena turned away from the painting, carrying the knowledge that humans could always shine, no matter how small or unnoticed they might feel. The first dream of humanity had been found, and now the light of that dream would never fade.